Welcome to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your host, Regina Partain Bergman. I am thrilled with my co-host today. I just absolutely adore this woman. I've We've known each other for a little while here, not a terribly long time, considering things, but she's one of those people that, have you ever met somebody in your life that you just fell in love with them immediately when you met them? Well, that's what happened for me with my co-host today. She's just this amazing person that I absolutely adore. And she is Miss Asha Mankowska. Asha, welcome. So
Regina,
glad to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for honoring me with your invitation and allowing me to invite those phenomenal guests of mine. I think Leslie got frozen for a second, but hopefully he's going to be right back with us.
Hopefully so. Asha, would you share? Oh, say that again.
Oh, I was just saying that, he froze for a second, but he will be right
back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Mm-hmm. So, Asha, would you share for us a little bit about your journey, who you serve, and why that it is important to you to serve them?
Yes. You know what? I was an attorney for 12 years in San Diego, California, and back in Europe. And I realized this is not my path that I want to go with, because I wasn't feeling I am making a difference in the world. And I have 3 top values, which is freedom, faith, and family. And according to that my freedom too, I didn't like any limitations. So I just started to build, scale, and sell businesses, because that's how I figured I can really serve business owners globally, right? There was no limitations anymore. And 20 years plus and I've never looked back. And I know there were so many people were telling me that that's not going to work, because there are so many people, there are so many businesses out there. But here I am, recognized by Forbes magazine as one of the top business mentors in US. I had an amazing pleasure to speak at Harvard University, Yale, prestigious conferences, international conferences about neuroscience and neuroleadership. So it's been an absolute joy. And along the way, I've met phenomenal clients. I've built phenomenal businesses. I've met people that, we have a long-lasting relationship with, like the one and only Regina, that I just have amazing joy to know. And I'm really hoping that my guests are going to be the shining star of today's episode as well, because I can tell you, like we met and everything just clicked. The same happened. I was actually honored to be invited to their amazing networks, because they are global leaders as well. They love collaboration. So when you invited me today, I thought, okay, who else will be better to invite? And I see Leslie is getting back. So, Regina, in the meantime, when he's connecting, would you like to share a little bit about yourself with my guests that actually don't know anything about you?
Sure. Very briefly. I will share very briefly, because I really want our audience to hear from all of you. So I am a business coach specializing in profit acceleration and exit strategy, working with entrepreneurs so that when they choose to exit their business, they have options. But in the meantime, they can enjoy tremendous profitability while they're building that business to the stage that it can run without them, so that they can do other things. So,
absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much, Regina. And I think that's exactly what was our common denominator, because as you know, sales, profits, and performance, that's my interest, that's my focus as well. And yes. we understood each other. We spoke the same language about business, so that's really fantastic. So,
yes. So, Asha, would you introduce your guests for us and have them share about their journey, who they serve and why as well?
Absolutely. So Leslie is my long-term client. So I think you will all enjoy him. An absolutely brilliant mind, but who knows if he will join us again.
He's having some difficulties.
Right. In the meantime, ladies first. So actually, I met Michelle first at her amazing networking group. So Michelle, could you please, you amazing natural entrepreneur, introduce yourself to our audience today?
Oh, I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for having me, Asha and Regina. It's such a pleasure and honor to meet you. I am, the natural entrepreneur. I call myself. I run also a co-hosted network for. We call it the Bay Group, the Badass Entrepreneur Group. I don't know if I can say that, but and that's where we were fortunate enough to have Asha come and share, and so that was where we connected, and I'm really grateful for that. I started that network as well as I have another network for body, mind, and soul wellness practitioners. So I have a couple of networks, but my primary focus right now is I'm a digital doula. I kind of work on the other end of the spectrum of entrepreneurship from Regina and help very early stage individual purpose-driven entrepreneurs craft their online offers, and then those who are just about ready to scale to take a look at their offer ecosystems, I refer to it as, because I'm a nature freak. My mom was a nature artist. I'm a biologist by formal training. I have a bunch of kind of a Forrest Gumpy type background, but I got into digital marketing as a social purpose enterprise to be able to subsidize respite and homeschool care for exhausted special needs parents like myself. So I have a mama bear drive for digital marketing. And I just love the process of finding people's unique gifts, helping them shape and form those into an online offer, and then helping them build out the tech. I'm a tech geek, and I build all of the sales funnels and all of the things that they need to be able to function well, because it is really hard when you're a small entrepreneur to be doing everything and all the things, and automating and making those things natural, so that you can play at the things you love to play at and automate the things you don't, so that you can participate in the business ecosystem. And I'm always about the nature. So I really feel like individuals have gifts that are the equivalent of bringing biodiversity back to nature. If we bring individual gifts back to the business world, we're diversifying the business scene, and that's only a good thing. So that's me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much,
Love
Michelle. I'm going to ask Leslie to introduce himself before we lose him again.
So I'm probably the least technical person. I can't even figure out the internet here, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for the invitation.
As I mentioned to you guys, Leslie is one of my dear and one of my favorite brilliant clients for many, many years. I mean, many, 2, 3 or something like that. And it was the same like with Regina. When we met with Leslie, the first conversation, it was just something just clicked, right? And I just had amazing pleasure to coach with him and his amazing team. So he has a great also team behind him that it's taking care of everything, besides a great family too. So, and I'm going to be visiting soon, I promise.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, I know. Could you please introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your business?
Yes, so Asha, thanks for the invitation to the podcast. I'm based out of the Caribbean, as you can tell. My face doesn't really match it, but I am born and bred out of the Caribbean, and I really want to be, absolutely, I really want to be a Caribbean, AI millionaire. And I know it sounds obnoxious, but my goal is to help more people in the region to be globally competitive. And I've found that over the course of time, that the problems that we experience here are the problems that most entrepreneurs also do. So I'm starting to actually work a lot more outside of the region to help people with AI, to be honest with you. So it's been an exciting ride. I mean, everything today in the news, everything today in the paper is artificial intelligence. I am, unlike some of the other folks in the call here, I made a series of very bad decisions that ended up in the right place. Fortunately, kind of started in lockdown. So when we went into lockdown, we had massive performance problems with the team. I mean, most of you guys already see that or experience that. And I had a couple of choices at that point in time. My first choice was I could fire everybody, and I feel a little guilty saying it now, but I'm sure some of the entrepreneurs out there thought about it as well. My second choice is, and I found myself almost doing this, was trying to beat people into submission. So I was on Zoom calls, I was like raising my voice a little bit, and my third choice was to find better ways for them to work. Fortunately, we had some experience in AI, and we started to apply AI to individual tasks in their businesses. And what was interesting is that performance went right back up through the roof right away when we started to use AI. And we went nuts on AI. We spent millions of dollars on AI, and we pretty much applied AI across every single part of our business. Now, it's not something I recommend like from the get-go, but we turned our outfit into basically an AI R&D shop. And my team, they were basically losing their marbles for almost 2 years. But as we came out of it, we took like the best of breed AI, well over 200 systems. We took my subject matter experts, their frameworks, we tied it in together. And then we took our processes. And this year we're going to launch an application. I've bought pretty much every app out there, and I haven't seen anyone approaching like this. But in a nutshell, when I look back on where we are today, if you think about what anybody ever done any time management training, like time blocking or anything, anybody done? Yeah. So you have an 8-hour day, you do one task per 8 hours, and at the end of the day, you've done eight tasks. So by the end of the year, the typical person does 9,600 tasks. Using AI, we now automated 10,000 tasks a day. So we added 365 people to our team without a dollar in payroll. And that's what we're going to productize this year.
Wow. Thank you so much, Leslie.
Wow.
What an amazing achievement, not to mention, having phenomenal mentor like.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been possible without you, Asha. Thank you so much.
I was too modest to mention. Thank you. You are definitely one of my phenomenal, brilliant, absolutely flexible people that can be resilient in any economy. I think that's what we exactly need. And you're never scared of collaboration and being open. So I really appreciate that about you. Joe, I've met Joe also recently, actually, when he invited me to his amazing networking event, where I had the pleasure to meet live great entrepreneurs and businesses. And Joe, would you please share a little bit about yourself and about your collaboration phase in your life?
Sure, absolutely. So, Asha, thank you so much for inviting me. Regina, it's great to meet you. Leslie, Michelle, thank you so much. So, my wife and I own and operate an entrepreneur collaboration community called M3 Linked. And M3 Linked is a virtual collaboration experience that puts business decision makers, entrepreneurs, basically anybody in the entrepreneurial ecosystem together in very impactful virtual events. We work off of a custom virtual platform that allows full mobility within the event. So you can go to the people you want to go to, speak to the people you want to speak to, and it creates some amazing collaborations. We've been a part of the M3 community for over 4 years. We acquired the brand of M3 a little over a year ago because we were so in love with the idea of connecting entrepreneurs and creating collaborations. It really became a heart-centered mission for my wife and I. And as a result, when the opportunity presented itself, we acquired the brand. Now, we had been involved from the beginning, but we decided to take ownership of it and kind of move in some different directions. And the directions we're heading is towards creating a higher level of collaboration between entrepreneurs. We've created a learning management platform. We've created additional experiences and opportunities for entrepreneurs to meet other entrepreneurs. See, on the subject of collaboration, we believe that every entrepreneur out there is usually only 2 or 3 significant connections away from breakout success. You know, it just those few couple of connections. And that's kind of where we operate within that realm, helping people to make those types of connections. And, you know, my background professionally, you know, I've been in sales and business development for over 35 years. I've worked with Fortune 50 companies all the way down to startups. And the work that I do now in the sales space is still centered around collaboration. I help coaches and entrepreneurs create breakout sales success through my own proprietary sales methodology, something that I've taken from those 35 years of experience and created a simplified way for people to sell relationally. And it really has kind of helped many, many people. In fact, across my career, I've had the great fortune to have coached, trained, or mentored over 3,500 people. And at its core, the work that we do centers around collaboration, how you build better relationships, how you communicate better. So we're thrilled with the work that we're doing with M3 Linked. We were super excited to have Asha as a guest. And we love the idea of connecting entrepreneurs and other people so they can collaborate and get the help and resources they need to grow. And that's a little bit about myself and what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate your joining here today and sharing your message as well about collaboration.
My
Regina,
pleasure.
would you please
Yes.
amazing questions, discussions, whatever
So-
you like.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a couple of different ways that I could see we could go here. I heard multiple types of collaboration as you were introducing yourselves. One that I didn't expect to hear was Leslie, really a form of collaboration with AI. So we had AI collaboration and we had people collaboration. And so I think where I want to go to start is just, you said something, Joe, that I want to come back to. You said that, you know, people are probably 2 or 3 significant connections away from those connections that would give them that breakout success. How do we help people to make those connections? I mean, yet you have networking groups, we have, you know, those kinds of things, but how do we help them really zero in on the connections they need to make, and to make those connections and then make them, I don't really want to use this word, but make them profitable? In other words, how do we get the most from that connection while still giving in that connection? Because collaboration is not about receiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about giving and receiving. So how do we help people to take advantage of making those connections and using them to move their business forward as while helping others in the same process? Anybody and everybody. Joe, you're nodding your head. I want to hear from you first.
Sure. You're speaking my language, Regina.
I know.
So, you know, I think you said it well right there at the end. It has to be about the other person. And I think
Exactly.
too many times people go into anything, whether it's a networking opportunity or just the opportunity to meet somebody else, and they're so focused on what they need that they miss a golden opportunity. So I think the first thing we all have to agree on is you have to take the transaction out of your mind and focus on the relationship. Build the relationship, learn about that other person, get to know them on a deeper level. The transactions, the business, the opportunities, they'll come, but only if you build a solid foundation of a relationship. And we talk about it a lot in our community, where we say we're relationship focused, not transaction focused. And I think that really says a lot, because I think that's what creates strong collaboration. And I'd love to get everybody else's opinion. I think that that's one of the things that helps people collaborate at a very high level, making it about the other person.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Michelle, I know you're dying to say something
Oh
here.
no, it just feels natural to me, and I feel like humans are just coming home to this more
Yes.
natural way of doing business. And
Yes.
in nature, systems are like that. You don't get food unless you have a bee and a flower and a pollination, and systems work together. And so I see these collaborations as sort of each of us playing our function and role in an ecosystem. And when we each play our role and do our thing and work with the others, we are actually naturally building a whole that's better. And so it comes down to balance and give and take, like Joe said, and in a sense, these old kind of like intellectual human designs of left or right or business or nonprofit and government, like those are kind of artificial divides now. And that's what I love actually about social entrepreneurship, because those are kind of the collaborations I like to work with, is how do we use a business driver, an economic driver, to solve problems, human problems and social problems that the systems are failing us on. So that's my bit.
Excellent. I love the term ecosystem, because I think way too many of us as entrepreneurs are focused in only on us and our business, and we're not reaching out and being part of an ecosystem, or creating an ecosystem. So I love that. Yeah. Leslie, your thoughts?
Yeah, a great thing. If you think about the Caribbean, it's actually not a very big space, right?
Right.
So the way we've always been brought up to do business is think long term, is in building a relationship, because it can't be transaction. You can't just move from one person to the other person, because you run into people really, really quickly. But if you think about
Good
the world
point.
today, the world is getting much, much smaller. It's a global
Yes.
place. Like if you look at this webinar alone, like we're from different countries, all of us. And we're here collaborating on this conversation. So I think if you think long term, and that if you enter into a conversation hoping that you can serve the other person, usually, and that's kind of the first conversation I had with Asha. It was meant to be 15 minutes, and I think it turned into 3 hours. So
I can't imagine.
Right?
I say that with love, meaning I absolutely love talking to this woman.
absolutely.
I love what Leslie said, though. I grew up in a very, very small town, and it is the same thing. And I love how also, Leslie, you work with automating the things that are kind of that old systemic stuff that we don't need to, so we can get to the actual good, juicy stuff of what it means for service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Asha, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, collaboration is the name of the game, I think. And we have to realize very early in the game that we cannot be the victorious winners if we do not attract the right players around us, whatever we do. In our family, in business, in politics, in life, friends. And it's so important to attract the right people that are in alignment with us, in our mission, vision, values, and whatnot. Because only then, let's say people who are transactional or businesses who are transactional are mostly scarcity based. Old, very old, energy, where the sales was the name of the game, and that was it. Not the relationship, not the loyalty, not creating loyalty within your, team members or your clients, right? Now it's completely different. If we attract people coming from abundance mentality, that's when the collaboration will make sense. Because, like, also some of you said, people, instead of going into the relationship with the mentality, what's in it for me, right? They will think, okay, how can I serve you? How can I benefit you? Because they don't have to think or worry that will be no reciprocation, right? Because the other person will be 200, 300 in for them as well. So this is the valuable team that I always wanted to create around myself, doing anything. Because I know, especially in the times of maybe recession, difficult times of challenges, being alone is very difficult. Yes, we can be the strongest, the most independent people, entrepreneurs, leaders ever, but we still do need support. We still do need amazing people around that, inspiration, motivation. And that's exactly what the right team in place, the right collaboration partners will give us. Wouldn't you agree?
Agreed. So one of the things that I'm hearing then in answer to that question, then how we help people do that is coming back to teaching them how to serve first, to give first, right?
Yes.
To come in with that focus of how do I serve you? How do I give? Michelle, you have thought on that?
Yeah, well, when you said that, I was just absolutely. And to do that, you have to know who you are and what your function is, like where your center's at, so that I really loved what Asha said, because what it does is it moves us from this win-lose, top-down control, system has, people have not, kind of space, to much more, again, back to nature, neural networky, like functional ecosystem kind of. But to make that work, everybody has to know who they are, what their gift is, and why it benefits them to serve. We're self-interested creatures, but also we have gifts to bring to the whole, and that it's a benefit for us to share. So,
you know what, Michelle, I just love what you just said. Let me just add something to it. Everyone in the world have special superpowers, right? But we were taught to be the human doers, right? Go, 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 achieve, 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 achieve. And that's why we were not sometimes taught to look around who needs our help, who need our service. This is the point, how the businesses grow, how our personality grow too. But the thing is too that the collaboration will be always the key element, because when we focus on first two, we cannot pour from empty either,
Yes.
right? So
Correct.
when we focus on what is my superpower, what is my passion, how can I, what special gifts I can offer to the world, right? And I will also open up to receive, because it has to be both. Only then the collaboration will be most fulfilling for all parties involved, right?
So we start with give, but we need to be able to receive. Is that what I'm hearing, Asha?
Yes.
And that's, especially I think, and I could be wrong on this, but I think for a lot of women, that receiving part has been overlooked.
Yeah, I see gentlemen, they don't have issues with that. So,
but Michelle related to that. And folks, I got to tell you, I'm having a little bit of an electrical issue here. I hope that I don't get booted out of our call.
Once there's no smoke, we're okay.
Yeah, if I disappear, you will know that something went awry. My battery backup is blinking over here for my computer. My electricity, something going on with the electricity today.
Oh no! Yeah,
Could I add something?
Yes, please.
One of the things I think is so important, and I think it's incumbent upon all of us. When you think of the world we live in today, I teasingly call it Generation Me, because the world is very centered around me, right? We live in a society where people are taking selfies, they're self-videoing, and it's the influencer age, right?
Yes.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us that are more aware to better educate and teach people about the importance of collaboration and being of resource. I remember growing up, I was blessed to have two amazing parents, and I remember my mother used to always teach me that if you ever want to add value, you first have to be of value to people. Like you have to be present and be of value to them. And that's truly adding value. And I think sometimes in the world we live in today, it's twisted the opposite way. People are too centered around what they receive, what they get, how it benefits them, instead of being of value to other people and recognizing that it comes back so much more powerfully than when you're just looking for it naturally. And it's hard. It's hard for people. And I think the younger generation struggles with that in particular because they have lived in an age where things change rather quickly, and it has been centered around them. And, you know, for people that have, let's just say, lived a little longer, we have a greater appreciation for the importance of relationships, the importance of being of value to people, because those relationships do so much more for you long term. And I loved what Leslie said about in the Caribbean, how they do focus on building those longer term relationships and not thinking about the short term. I think in general, that's the way everybody should be.
We should.
You know, I have. Go ahead. Oh, I have a comment, and I have.
Go ahead, Asha.
A little delay. So I have a comment, and I will have a question too to all of you guys. So we had phenomenal conversation recently, actually, with Regina and with other guests too, about leadership. And you know, also yesterday I had phenomenal conversation about being human being versus human doing, right? And in leadership, and how that affects everyone else. And you know, I really noticed, because my background is also in neuro leadership, where we really focus on communication and how work with teams and whatnot, right? But without explaining, I know that the old energy was all about your intellectual property, IQ and whatnot, and people really forgot about the emotional intelligence, that it's actually key in not only leadership and neuro leadership among us, but exactly about our teams and collaborations. So I would love you to speak about how do you envision leadership, and with conjunction with the emotional intelligence possible.
Awesome.
I could jump in just for a second. So I am I wouldn't say that I'm a natural leader by any means. Asha
Yes,
knows that
you
I have.
are.
Well,
Yes,
I have.
you are.
I appreciate that. Maybe through your coaching, Asha, but I have very like low emotional intelligence, and for years I really didn't pick up on cues that the team were given to me. So they would have to actually like bash me on the head with something. You have to be like pretty blunt, pretty frank for me to get that stuff. But what I realized over time is, and Asha just shared this, is that communication is probably like the superpower that every leader should have, because sometimes you get to that level because of strong technical abilities, and it's not our ability to manage people, but being able to do that is a real superpower in of itself. And thanks, Asha, for teaching me that lesson really early on.
Thank you so much. You are amazing, by the way, so stop it.
Michelle,
well, I really like what Joe said. And I think that for me, it comes back to accountability, respect, care, compassion, respect, but personal accountability. And there's been sort of three or so models, maybe a couple more that I've seen. I was fortunate enough to work in salmon recovery with Indigenous people, and I remembered very distinctly the executive director of the Okanagan Nation telling me, you know, about accountability is like the buck stops here, right? Like I am responsible for myself and my ownership, and I create my own reality. Is sort of like the more spiritual side when I got into spiritual leadership and angles, is that we're actually literally creating our own realities. And so as much as, we might see things from the outside kind of impacting us, it's there's a pause in between when something happens and we respond, and that space we're responsible for our reactions. And then, even just, I also was a social worker working as a case manager for military veterans transitioning out of service. And even that model of leadership, all of the top leaders there were very much more about leading from behind, and even though they were responsible and had to direct, they understood that they were responsible when their whole unit was taken out. They were the ones left with the impact, so they knew that they were responsible. So anyway, I've experienced leadership and cutting it, and even in my own family, leading my son through the systems, trying to advocate for his needs and providing for his services. It always comes back to how you show up for yourself and how you take care of yourself and the people in your immediate connections, right? In your immediate collaborations.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that's a great point, Michelle. And, it reminds me of, there's certain things that stick with you that you remember that people share, right? And some of the earliest things, I'm sure you've all heard them, that I heard in my career, were things like, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
And I think that's something that needs to be embedded into solid leadership, no matter what the organization is. I think gone are the days of the absentee leadership, the behind the boardroom doors leadership. I think leadership needs to be front facing in a much more collaborative way with the teams they lead, because it's required. I think people expect it now. They need it more than ever before. Years ago, and I'm dating myself when I say this, years ago, you might only ever see the CEO in very limited instances, right? A board meeting, a couple of events, like they were almost like invisible leaders. And the reality is, in the world we live in today, leadership has to take the front line. They have to be seen as doing the job. In fact, I wasn't a military man, but I'm the son and grandson and great grandson of a number of very, very proud Marines. And one of the main Marine tenets in leadership development is that the troops need to see you do the job. Like, they need to know you're doing it. They need to see it. And that's where that collaboration comes from, because when they see you there, that connection is real. They can buy into the vision at a much higher level. And you can't be behind the scenes anymore in today's world.
Absolutely. And we have to be the role models. That's why, collaboration and leadership is so important to me, because we have to start from the top, right? Then if people will see the great example, how is it done? And it's so natural, and it's so beneficial for everyone, and so inclusive, right? There are so many benefits, mutual benefits, and that's the key element of collaboration. I think the more people can see it and distinguish that not just me mentality, or it's no longer valid, it's no longer present, it's just going away very, very fast. Thank you so much, Regina.
When you asked that question, one of the things I thought about, Asha, was I owned a staffing firm for a number of years.
Yeah.
And you may have heard me tell this story. I think I may have shared it on that show you and I were on the other day, but
One of the
3,000 or 4,000 times. No, one of the things that I think was good leadership was making sure that the staff knew that everyone on the staff was important, just as important as they were.
Yes.
And that they were all hired for their own unique abilities and what they brought to the position. That, so I would have that conversation with them kind of on day one, and, you were hired because this is what you bring. This is who you are. These are the strengths. And, we hired you for that. But guess what? Every person on the staff was hired for their unique abilities and experiences and skills that they brought. And that they were all equal in that so there wasn't any internal strife going on amongst the staff. Now I'll back up and say that once my business partner and I got a call. We had gone out to breakfast together the day after having a team building event the night before, and got a phone call saying, "We just had a cat fight." I said, "Oh no, you didn't. That doesn't happen in my company." But one of the things that we drew upon was personality profiles and we used a very accurate personality profile, and we were able to put their personality profiles up and see exactly where the conflict came from and educate them about that, so that now at least, even though that didn't change who they were, they now had understanding, and understanding brings compassion. And so I think as leaders, the more that we can do to help bring that into our environment as well, so that we have understanding and we have compassion and we have people who care about each other, then I think we have such a much stronger organization.
That's a terrific point. If I could chime in, Asha.
Please.
So to kind of tie what Regina was saying, and Asha, you're saying like leading from above as well. So this is a very expensive lesson that I learned, but in about 2010, we made a big pivot in the organization. So what we were doing back then, we realized that our partners, the big technology companies of the world, they were now going to basically cut us out. They were going to work directly with the end customers, doing something called cloud. I don't know if you guys ever heard of cloud. So they're now going direct to our customers, and our market was shifting really, really, really quickly. So I went to my team and I said, guys, 5 years from now, our current business is not going to exist. But there's this huge opportunity in something else. And I missed a couple of things. And Regina, you got it. Asha, you get it. So I was trying to lead from above, but I wasn't able to communicate that down to the what's in it for them. And if you're able to communicate that, then you're able to move them way along faster, more effectively. Because my two top guys, they resigned the following day because I wasn't able to communicate that. I wasn't able to communicate compassionately about what this shift meant for them as individuals. So that's really good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got an expensive example as well. I had a team, and it was a situation where some education would have helped, but more on the function of how humans just like naturally exist, in sense of like we have our conscious minds and then we have our subconscious behavioral emotional drivers, and how those things actually show up, and we don't necessarily connect the dots between in ourselves or between each other. And so if I had if I knew then what I know now, I would have spent a lot more time collaborating with someone about understanding their internal paradigms. And how those align with the paradigm of the culture that I'm trying to build in my enterprise. And I just thought of that when you said that, because it is a collaboration inside your own head, and then to communicate to others especially when you're trying to also change manage, right?
Yeah. And I think we think a lot about collaboration as being, especially in this truly entrepreneurial age where we have a lot of entrepreneurs, and we think about collaboration being between one company and another company, right? But there's so many other levels of collaboration, right? And that collaboration within an organization, and as you say, within yourself, Michelle.
Like, why am I doing this again? Oh, right. Yes. There's that whole set of limiting beliefs that I have that we can't do this. Oh, why is that? Oh, yeah, we can, right?
Yeah,
and it just shifts everything.
One of my favorite leadership traits that I think is so important in strong leadership is, leadership really boils down to one thing, and that's creating a unified vision for what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I think that definition can be modified to include collaboration by simply saying creating a unified and shared vision.
Yeah.
And that's where the collaboration effort comes in. And, I experienced something very similar, Leslie, not quite to the extreme that maybe you did, but, in leadership, the one thing that's very difficult to overcome is the human factor of fear. People hear a message and it's left to interpretation. Like they don't know what that means, instead of seeing it as you described, a great opportunity to be in the forefront of something new. Those people were hearing, oh my gosh, we're not going to be here long, and I'd rather control my own destiny, right? And I think collaboration at its core, it's hard, especially when fear is in the mix, but you have to embrace the fear just like you embrace the excitement when things are going well. And when you do that, I think collaboration is easy. When you struggle with it, it's when it's harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think I have my last question, but just to what Joe said, that's why, you know, we always will face our fears, right? That we talked about coming into collaboration or anywhere, doing anything from mindset of scarcity. That's when the fear is in control of you, right? Versus, yes, we all have fears, but when you're coming from the place of abundance, from the strong foundation, you are in control of those fears. So, right? So I'm really glad you've mentioned it, because, you know, collaboration is not just to be completely fearless, and we all human beings, right? So
we here. So
it's a part of us. My last question.
hang on just 1 second though, Asha. We're
Yeah.
out of time.
So
we have to begin our wrap-up round.
So besides the last question, that was fantastic idea. Maybe for the next episode,
I
right?
know. Yeah, let's do this again. So
yeah, let's introduce each other, wrap up, and how can we connect with you, or we can find you?
And so, who do you want to call on, Asha?
Regina, Michelle.
Well, you can find me. I largely hang out on Facebook, but I have a website, naturalentrepreneur.ca. And I have a free Facebook group that helps value add and folks get their toes dipped into the concept of sharing their gifts and how to go about that on Facebook, called The Natural Entrepreneur. And that would be great to connect, and I would love to have all of you on my podcast too. So
thank you so much, Michelle. Leslie, how can we connect with you? Where we can find you?
I usually hang on LinkedIn. Feel free to grab me there if you guys want to accelerate operational excellence in your business using AI.
Thank you so much. Joe.
Yeah, I am usually on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can connect with me individually just by texting the word sales to the number 409-509-7355. That actually connects to my digital assistant, and you can get right to me, right to my schedule to schedule some time to talk.
Fantastic. Regina.
And actually, we're going to skip me for the moment and go to Asha.
All right. So I'm mostly on LinkedIn and Facebook, and please connect with me on acceleratedprofitsmasters.com as well. I'm looking forward to connecting again with everyone in deeper discussions and conversations. And obviously, Asha Mankowska, LinkedIn and Facebook. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And let me just make sure I got that in there in the comments. I want to make sure I got you. I didn't get yours in there yet, Asha. So let me post that. So everyone's contact information is also in the comments on the different platforms that we posted on. So this has been wonderful. I appreciate you all being here so much. And folks, you can find me wherever you're watching this, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, YouTube or Twitter. This is going out to all of those platforms. So wherever you're watching this, you can connect with me there. Regina@bridgeportstrategy.com is my email, and bridgeportstrategy.com is my website. So Asha, what a great group of folks that you brought to us today. Thank you so much. Appreciated meeting each of you, and you have totally added value to the show today. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Regina,
you.
again for the great invitation, and everyone for accepting my invitation today and sharing your golden nuggets, wisdom with all of us. And I'm looking forward to the next conversations.
Awesome.
Thank
And
you, guys.
Asha, you will appreciate that Kian just wrote in. Great job, guys. Thanks, Kian. And we
He's
wanna-
jealous. He's not here.
And we want to thank all of our viewers. Please leave us your comments, your likes. You know, if you like what you're seeing, let us know. Let us know. And we hope that you will have amazing collaborations in your life. And we'll see you next time on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.